This wrestling program was printed in Lancaster, Pennsylvania in March 1936. At first glance, it appears to be just another wrestling card from the Depression era. But one name on the program would go on to have a remarkable career both inside and outside the wrestling ring. His name was Mike Mazurki. In 1936, Mazurki was still establishing himself as a professional wrestler. Fans attending these Lancaster matches would have had little reason to believe that the man appearing on their local card would someday become known across America. At the time, he was simply another wrestler traveling from town to town, earning a living in the rough and demanding world of professional wrestling. Mazurki was not a one-time visitor to Lancaster. Surviving programs show that he returned again and again during the spring of 1936. Professional wrestlers of that era lived on the road, often working several cities each week. Lancaster was just one stop among many, but thanks to these programs, we can still follow part of his journey nearly 90 years later. One of the most fascinating features of these programs is that a fan recorded the winners directly on the card. Those handwritten notes have survived the decades. Because of them, we know that Mike Mazurki defeated Jack Hayter on April 13th. 2 weeks later, he returned to Lancaster and faced Al Bisignano. These small pencil marks preserve moments of wrestling history that otherwise might have been lost forever. For most wrestlers, that would have been the end. But for Mike Mazurki, it was only the beginning. As the years passed, Mazurki found opportunities beyond the wrestling ring. His imposing size and distinctive appearance helped open the door to a career in Hollywood. Over the next several decades, he appeared in dozens of films and became one of the movie's most recognizable tough guy actors. Audiences saw him portray gangsters, villains, and larger-than-life characters, making him a familiar face on movie screens across America. Yet, despite his success in Hollywood, wrestling remained an important part of his life. He never completely left the business behind. On August 20, 1963, nearly 3 decades after appearing on these Lancaster cards, Mike Mazurki stepped back into the ring at Long Beach Municipal Auditorium in California. It was one of the final matches of his wrestling career. That match is especially interesting because one of the men across the ring was Fred Blassie. Wrestling fans would later know Blassie as one of the most famous and influential heels in professional wrestling history. Even near the end of his in-ring career, Mike Mazurki was sharing cards with future legends of the sport. But perhaps Mazurki's greatest contribution to wrestling came after he stopped competing. In 1965, he helped found the Cauliflower Alley Club, an organization dedicated to honoring and assisting professional wrestlers and boxers. The club's symbol was inspired by Mazurki's own cauliflower ear, a lasting reminder of his years in the ring. Mazurki served as the club's first president and remained one of its most important figures for many years. Today, the Cauliflower Alley Club continues to preserve wrestling history and support members of the wrestling community, extending a legacy that began with Mike Mazurki and his fellow founders more than 60 years ago. When fans walked into these Lancaster wrestling shows in 1936, Mike Mazurki was simply another wrestler on the card. What they could not have known was that he would go on to become a Hollywood actor, share the ring with legends like Fred Blassie, and help create one of the most respected organizations in professional wrestling history. Thanks to these surviving programs and the penciled notes left behind by a fan nearly 90 years ago, that story can still be told today.